All right, what's up, everybody? This is Fantasy Football Endgame. I'm Pierre. He is Chris, and this is the post-Turkey Day edition of our Start Sit live show. That's right, coming to you live on YouTube. So this is your chance to ask questions and let us know what you need help with, because that is our end game. Our goal is to help you win. Chris, did you have a good Thanksgiving, first of all, before we get underneath all the football stuff?
Well, other than all the penalty flags that kind of ruined the games, yes, I did. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of glad I was a little busy on Thanksgiving Day. Didn't get to watch all the games. And when I would flip on, then I'd flip back off. I'm like, okay, I know I didn't miss anything in the Lions game. That's not a shocker. The Cowboys showed some signs of life. That's pretty good. On offense, unless you have CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper, or I guess Zeke Elliott, who we'll talk about. And then the night game was pretty good. So I mean, I do like that there's 3 games of football on Thanksgiving now. I mean, 1 is not enough, and 2, it's okay, but I mean, come on, a day full of football, that's what Thanksgiving is really about.
True.
Now we do have those 3 games out of the way with, so hopefully you made the right choices there. Mainly by that I mean not starting anybody in the first game, starting only a couple of players that matter in those other games. But let's get to it now. There's 2 teams on bye, and there are big ones, right? The Chiefs and that offense, they're all on bye. The Cardinals, but only 2 teams. So without those players plus the Thanksgiving games, we're going to run down now the injuries, who else is not available, and let you know what is what for fantasy lineups. We're going to answer all your questions as best as we can, but of course, we may not have time for all of them. We get a ton of questions in this hour-and-a-half session. 2 things you can do to ensure that your question gets answered. Number 1, you can always use the super chat feature. That's kind of a way to skip the line, kind of like your fast pass per se. The best way, though, is if you become a patron, then you get access to a Start Sit show on Sunday morning just for patrons. So you heard of Patreon before. We have one. It's pretty cheap, and it gets you access to us, undivided attention from us on Sunday morning, just for our patrons. We have a small group there, have great conversations, go really in depth on some teams. So anyways, consider that. It's in the description below. You can click on the link and find out more information. All right, let's start with the injury talk. So Chris, out, and I know this saddens you because we thought AJ Brown might be a league winner down the stretch. That is definitely impossible now, because aside from this game, he's going to miss the next 3 games at least. He's on IR. I did not see that coming. It didn't seem like he was that bad off. I mean, did that take you by surprise?
Yes, definitely took me by surprise. I feel like this year has just been such a weird year for injuries, right? Like injuries we think, oh, they're minor. Guys go on IR. Injuries we think are major. Guys are coming right back. It's just been a weird year as far as injuries go. But yeah, definitely didn't see that coming. Best case, he's back week 16 now, which maybe too late for a lot of teams, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, where we're at right now, he's missing 3 weeks. We're in week 12, right? He's missing at least 3, assuming he's going to be back. But what is he coming back to? This Tennessee offense is just struggling. I mean, they basically aren't an offense now without Derrick Henry, without Julio Jones, now without AJ Brown. I think that's definitely an offense to steer clear of, but we'll get to that a little later on. So AJ Brown is definitely out. Michael Carter also on IR, so promising rookie season cut short. I did talk about that in the injury report earlier this week, said that Ty Johnson was probably the guy to pick up. Definitely somebody you should be scooping up now, because he's going to be the main running back for the most part. I know Tevin Coleman's there, but I have a good feeling Ty Johnson is going to get the most touches and the most important touches. So no Michael Carter. Antonio Brown still at least a week away from coming back. It sounds like they're optimistic that he comes back next week against Atlanta, but definitely no Antonio Brown this week. Sterling Shepard is out. Shocker there. And then the Giants just can't stay healthy. Kadarius Toney is doubtful. So we're both relieved that we don't have to get any Kadarius Toney questions this week. You shouldn't be starting him anyways, but look, it's going to be different. Do you think that there's any hope for the Giants now that Jason Garrett is gone? I mean, was it really his fault?
Completely his fault, no, but I think he definitely I didn't understand this hire when it happened. I don't think he's a very good offensive coordinator. I don't think he was very good in Dallas as the OC. One thing about, so we don't know who the OC is going to be. Everybody's speculating it'll be Freddie Kitchens. If you think back, Freddie Kitchens when he was in Cleveland, when he took over down the stretch after they fired Hugh Jackson, that was when Baker Mayfield had that incredible stretch. We thought Baker Mayfield was going to be this great quarterback, and they were scoring tons of points. Then the next year, he took over as head coach / offensive coordinator, and they weren't as good. So I'm hopeful that him just being the OC will pump some life into this team. And sometimes a coach getting fired just does pump life into the team. So I feel pretty good about the Giants that are out there this week, at least better than I normally do.
Yeah, I mean, it sometimes it's like you said, kind of a case of addition by subtraction. Just not having Garrett there, they can't point the finger at him anymore, and so then they have to point the finger, right back at themselves and say, okay, now I can't blame the play calling. I can't, make excuses anymore. So maybe just having that tension will help. Being gone, who knows? But either way, Sterling Shepard out again. That doesn't help. Kadarius Toney probably not going to play. Saquon Barkley is probably going to play. I think he's fine, and I have him as a must start, but it all depends. We'll see. Jordan Howard is out, and also Eric Ebron is out. So Friar Goat gets the call again, right?
Yes.
Well, all right. Doubtful. Corey Davis, probably not going to play. He was questionable. I think it's a quad injury, but now downgraded doubtful. So Elijah Moore. Gotta love that. And then Aaron Jones actually got some practice in, limited practice sessions this week, but he's listed as questionable. I think it's going to be a game time call here, but I don't know. I have a hard time trusting that he's going to come back already, that they're going to push him. Do you think they're going to actually activate him for this game?
Again, this year has felt so weird with injuries. And we've seen teams bring guys back before the bye, right? David Montgomery, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So it's not, this isn't something we haven't seen before. So maybe, but to me, it's like, do they want to risk it? Give him this week, give him another week to heal, have him come back week 15 or week 14, I guess it would be, 100%. So my gut is no, he won't play, but the fact that he practiced all week makes you think, well, there's a chance.
There's a chance, but here's the problem. There's a chance that he plays, but he doesn't touch the ball very much. I mean, AJ Dillon is there and he's been okay. And on the one hand, this is a big game against the Rams. Obviously, they want him there if possible, if he's good to go. On the other hand, it's the Rams, and they're still a pretty good defense, so it's not like he would have a monster game anyways. If it were me, I'd probably lean towards not starting him, even if he does play. But it always depends on your options. So we'll see. And then Elijah Mitchell, this is a tough call. It sounds, again, like he should be good to go. You kind of have to worry about maybe he re-aggravates that injury, a wrong hit, that finger gets jammed. But it sounds like it's more of a comfort level thing. Is that a good way to say it? If he's comfortable with it, he'll play.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what Kyle Shanahan said that he was able to do everything he needed to do with the finger in practice this week. So it just comes down to, is he comfortable playing with it or not? So I feel better that he'll play than Aaron Jones. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm skeptical of Aaron Jones. I would be really comfortable having Elijah Mitchell play so that he helps my fantasy team. Let's put it that way. But I'm not the coach. And then good news, Kareem Hunt finally is back. He is in. He's been activated. He is going to play. They've announced that he is back. So that's a good thing. Kareem Hunt, interesting because very game script dependent. Hayden Wink's an underdog who, as you may notice, we have a partnership with. So if you haven't played an underdog yet, do it. Promo code endgame. But underdog has some great information there. Hayden Winks found out that Kareem Hunt is the one who benefits the most out of any skill position player in the league from negative game script. So how do you think this game is going to go with Baltimore? If you think Baltimore is going to come back strong, then you definitely need Kareem Hunt in your lineup because he's going to catch some passes. But probably should start him anyways. And last but not least, Mike Evans is good to go. So any late breaking news, we will let you know. Last week we had some last minute news. Actually, the last 2 weeks we've had last minute news about quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger and Tua being deactivated on Saturday. So it always happens. All right. Are we ready to go with the questions? Anything else we need to tell the people?
I think we got it. I think we're ready to go. We got lots of questions as always.
All right, let's do it.
All right off the bat, a trade question. Hayden S. Should I trade Godwin and James Robinson for Cup and Elijah Mitchell in PPR?
I would lean towards yes if you're getting Cup, because
Oh.
I don't think that Cup is going to see any sort of a downtick. If anything, honestly, swapping out Robert Woods for Odell Beckham might help Cup, because I think that he's going to get just as many, if not more, targets. Mitchell, even if he's not a full go this week, he's going to be fine the rest of the season. I still think it's Mitchell's backfield, right? I'm not jumping all aboard the Jeff Wilson bandwagon here, so I would do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you gotta take the Cup side here. So if you're getting Cup, I agree, you got to do it. I mean, obviously James Robinson better than Mitchell, but that's not a huge downgrade. But Cup over Godwin to me is a big upgrade, and I agree with you. I don't know if we're going to see Cup put up the kind of yardage and touchdowns he did when Robert Woods was out there and the offense was at full strength, but he's going to catch so many little short passes that in PPR, right? We saw that last week. Or 2 weeks ago for the bye, he had 23 PPR points and he didn't even reach 100 yards. So he's just going to be a PPR monster. So yeah, I think you got to make that deal. Oh, and already coming from my heart. Okay, QMO 87. Do I start Devonta Smith or Saquon Barkley?
I mean, I think I already said at the top, and we know how Chris feels. Saquon Barkley, like, there's no reason you're not starting Saquon Barkley. I know he's got a little Q by his name still, but he's gonna go. Like, the injury is not the question. The question is that he's on the Giants. But look, the new offensive coordinator, whoever he is, question mark, should help. But look, this is a great matchup. Chris, didn't we talk about him in our must-start running backs?
Yeah, this is a great matchup. I thought he looked great last week. People are all like sad that he only got 11 fantasy points, which, by the way, was more than, I think he was still the RB20. And it was also more than David Montgomery got you this week against the mighty Detroit Lions defense. People are all sad he only got 11 points. I'm like, first of all, he had a lot of plays called back by holding. He only ran the ball 6 times because they were getting crushed. I thought he looked great. I thought he looked maybe the best he looked all season. So I feel great about Barkley this weekend going forward. So to me, yeah, definitely Barkley. Should I start Miles Sanders? I mean, okay, it depends on your options. Let's move on from that one. Okay, C Crip, not to be confused with C Cup. I need 2 full PPR: Miles Sanders, Fournette, Gibson, and Pittman.
I'm gonna say Pittman goes back to the must-start category, because we know it was tough, a tough matchup last week. And I still like Pittman. He's the main receiver there. It's a good offense. And in Tampa Bay, you think they're going to have to pass the ball more. I mean, of course, we thought that last week, but still, I think Pittman's a must start. You agree with that?
I agree with that. Definitely Pittman.
I'm fading Fournette this week. I already said it. He's one of my bust players, so I'm saying no to Fournette.
But do you sit him over Gibson or Sanders?
I have Gibson. I have Gibson a little bit ahead of him, believe it or not, this week.
I do like that matchup for Gibson. In the last 2 weeks since the bye, he's gotten the bulk of the work. It seems like maybe that week off helped the shins, whatever it is. So I think I agree with you. I lean slightly Gibson there as well. But for me, Pittman's the obvious one out of that one. I agree. Levon Davis, happy Thanksgiving, people. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. Tony Morrison, I have to choose 2 for running back. Okay, never mind. That got cut off. I don't know what's going on with the questions today. It's like people's questions aren't really. People aren't finishing their questions. This is weird. All right, Tony LaForgia. Apologies, I'm sure I mispronounced that. Needs somebody for his wide receiver 1. This is your wide receiver 1 choices? Higgins, Bateman, Marvin Jones, or Judy? Yeah, I mean, if that's your wide receiver 1 choices.
Well, I would say I'm scared to ask who your wide receiver 2 is, but it's probably whoever's left from those. So I'm going to quickly say no to Marvin Jones. I do like Bateman this week. I mentioned him as I'll say must start. He borderline must start. Higgins, I don't know. It's hard for me to kind of measure where Higgins is. He's been pretty inconsistent, but I have Higgins and Bateman kind of close together. So,
And the Steelers ruled out Joe Hayden, quarterback Joe Hayden. So that secondary, that defense has already been is banged up and has looked terrible. Now it's going to be even worse. So I think I really like Bateman, but I think out of that group, I got to go Higgins. I think the upside is just too much to ignore.
yeah, probably because Higgins is probably going to get more of a target share than just the offense. So probably I have Higgins and Bateman right next to each other. So Higgins is a little bit safer.
All right, and then here we go. 2021 Week 12 question. Well, it could be like every year Week 12 questions. We get to this point of the season and all kinds of random names, especially at running back. Dontrell Hillard or Rex Burkhead?
Oh man,
Imagine late August getting ready for our drafts, and I said in Week 12 you're going to be having to decide between Hillard or Rex Burkhead. You'd be like, no, you're crazy. Here we are.
Yeah. And ironically, that could be a 2018 question too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Last week we were asking like Joe Flacco versus, so it's like, yeah. Did he say PPR or no?
Did not, but it doesn't matter.
A little bit because Burkhead. Oh, I say okay in a vacuum, Burkhead because the Jets' run defense is literally the worst, and Rex Burkhead, I guess, is the starting running back now. I mean, Lindsey's gone, and David Johnson is pretty much just dust. So I would say Burkhead. Only thing is Hilliard. He caught several passes last week. He might catch a few this week. So in PPR, he might have kind of a higher floor, but you probably still want to go Burkhead.
Yeah, between these two, I definitely would go Burkhead. That matchup is just too good. It's too good to, ignore when you're talking about those guys. I'm not saying Burkhead's a must start, but when you're talking about those two players, I think the matchup is too good to ignore. All right, Marquise Barrett, standard, running back 2 and a flex between A.J. Dillon, I'm going to assume Miles Sanders, and Cordero Patterson.
I mean, Patterson, if he plays, then I think you have to put him in, right?
Yes, if Patterson plays, which it sounds like he's going to play, you have to start him. It is standard, which hurts him a little bit, but I still think you have to play him.
Yeah, but still, I mean, he's scoring touchdowns, he's getting receiving and rushing yards. I mean, He is that offense. That offense does not exist without Cordero Patterson, which is, again, not something we thought we would say in 2021. Okay, so if Patterson plays, and I think he is, then yeah, even a Patterson with one leg, I'd take him. Okay, and then so the other choices are what?
A.J. Dillon or Miles Sanders?
I mean, it depends on Aaron Jones, but I think I'd still go with Dillon because Miles Sanders, I mean, it's just, I don't want to get carried away from last week and his yardage, right? I mean, I don't think it's going to be a blowout necessarily for the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, then it's easily A.J. Dillon. Now, I might have the same decision in my home league. If Aaron Jones plays, I might have to decide between Dillon and Sanders in my flex because I have CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown, neither of who play this week. So I think in that case, I might go Sanders just because it is a good matchup against the Giants. And with no Jordan Howard, I mean, do we really expect Boston Scott to get that many carries? So I don't love Miles Sanders, but I think this week, but only if Aaron Jones doesn't play, then it's easily A.J. Dillon. So
yeah, I think with Miles Sanders, always the same thing, right? The risk, and especially this year, he doesn't catch enough passes, and the touchdowns. Not that he's a touchdown machine to begin with, but with Jalen Hurts there now as their best goal line back, I mean, you're really just hoping for a big rushing yardage output from Sanders because you're really not getting much elsewhere. He could score a touchdown, but it's not a great chance, and he might catch a couple of passes, but he's not going to get, like Dontrell Hilliard level of pass catches. So,
oh man, fantasy football, gotta love it.
Yep.
All right, MC Fire 1214 out of Elijah Moore, Javonte Williams, Bateman, and Higgins. Who gets to start at flex?
I'm picking one of those guys.
Sounds like it.
Look, I can't bench Elijah Moore. I just can't. I mean, he's He's been on fire. I don't even care who the quarterback is. Like, it could be Tim Boyle. I would still start Elijah Moore.
I don't know if I saw it was Tim Boyle. I don't know if you saw Tim Boyle play. I am a little nervous about Elijah Moore, Zach Wilson, because it's Zach Wilson. I mean, at least 2 or 3 drives are going to end in a Zach Wilson turnover. So that right there limits opportunities for Elijah Moore. But yeah, he's been playing so good. And with Corey Davis out, I think you got to start him. His upside is just too much to
But even in the game where Mike White intercepted 4 times, he still had a good game that way. Elijah Moore still put up numbers, and Corey Davis is probably not going to play. I think that helps even more. So I know everyone's nervous about Zach Wilson, but he did have that one good game. Remember?
No, I actually don't, but I'm sure
he did.
I'm
trust
sure
me.
Did. I'm sure I have to trust you because I don't remember. Santosh Karki. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. Tight end, Dallas Goedert or Noah
Fant? I typically lean Fant just because I think he's a more important part of that offense. I don't think they're going to be very pass happy. The Broncos are a team that definitely skew one way or the other, extreme in terms of game script, right? If they're behind, they're going to pass. If they're up ahead, they're going to run. So, how do you think this game is going to go? I think it's going to be fairly close. I don't think the Chargers are going to roll them. So I don't necessarily expect a huge Fant game. I probably lean Goddard based on the matchup.
Yeah, I lean Goddard too. I was high on Fant all off season, and he's had some nice games, but he has those games where he only gets 1 or 2 targets. Yeah. Goddard does not have those games. Goddard's getting 5+ targets. So I'll take the higher floor. And Goddard gets looks around the goal line too, so I definitely prefer Goddard in this one. Hector, do I start Hunt or Stevenson in PPR? Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know if there's another Stevenson.
That is easily Hunt.
Yes, I agree. Easily Hunt. We did that one. Message removed. Thanks, Shannon Barkley. Okay. All right, this one might be tough. QMO 87, Elijah Moore or Brandon Ayuk?
That is tough. I like them both this week. Man, that's tough. So in this case, I would probably lean Ayuk. I do like Ayuk as being part of that offense. I think that game will be a little bit more high scoring, back and forth. Look, in 2 of the last 3 games, Ayuk's gone over or had at least 85 yards. The game he didn't was against the Rams, right? And that's the game that not only the Rams defense, but they didn't even need to pass for some reason. They were winning the whole game. So I like Ayuk, and I think he's safer than Moore.
Yeah, and it's a great matchup against Minnesota. So I agree. I like Ayuk. All right. Billy Bob Joe. Elijah Moore. Okay, we got to pick 2. Elijah Moore, DJ Moore, or Mike Williams standard scoring.
Yeah, so I would have just jumped on the Moors, right? So Mike Williams last, but standard scoring, that between those, okay, I'm going to put Elijah Moore as a yes. He's been scoring touchdowns, right? He's 4 touchdowns the last 3 games, I think. So DJ Moore, it's a little tougher for him because he's probably going to get Xavier Howard a lot this week. And then he's a little bit more dependent on, his target share. Williams is a boom bust, and I have him as a bust this week. So I probably have to stick with Moore.
Yeah, I would go with the 2 Moores as well. I mean, look, Mike Williams, like we saw last week, he can be doing nothing, and then in one play, you're like, oh, I should have started Mike Williams. But if he doesn't get that one play, you're going to regret starting Mike Williams. So I'm not going to bank on all of a sudden he's going to put 2 boom games together in a row. So I would go with the Moores. Andrew Christensen, Devonta Smith, or Jerry Jeudy?
I think it's got to be Smith. It's a tough matchup for the Broncos. We talked about the Chargers, good pass defense. Jeudy has been fine personally, but he's fantasy wise, he's not lighting it up.
Remember in the offseason when they announced Teddy Bridgewater, we were all excited, I kind of really wish they just put Drew Lock back in there, because they'd probably be losing every game, and he would be chucking it 35, 40 times. But they don't throw the ball. They don't throw the ball unless they have to. So even Jerry Jeudy, people are like, oh, look what Jerry Judy's done to Cortland Sutton. Well, look what Jerry Judy's done. Done nothing. Yeah, he gets 6 catches, but he gets like 60 yards. You know what I mean? They just don't throw. They don't have to throw the ball. So yeah, I think you got to go with Devonta Smith.
Yeah, the problem is the offense. They have two good running backs, and they can use them, and they don't need to just pass. And their defense has been solid. So again, it's not a team like with Drew Lock last year, and their defense was poor. So yeah, just the volume isn't there.
Yeah, volume's just not there for any of these guys. Really, it's like got to score a touchdown. HV, hey fellas, love your channel. Thank you very much. Javonte Williams or Mike Williams half PPR.
Interesting because Javante, like you said, he's still getting half the work. But again, look at strictly this matchup, right? The same game, Broncos Chargers. The Chargers are a very, very clearly defined defense where it is a run funnel defense. The running game, they're giving up, I think, the second most rushing yards in the league. The only team that's given up more is the Lions, and they have an extra game because they just played. So the Chargers, definitely easy to run on. I would probably take a chance on Javante as opposed to Mike Williams. So we were talking about Mike Williams.
Yeah, me too. I like Javante this week, definitely. Ju Zhao, apologies if I mispronounced that. I'm sure I did. Half PPR. If Aaron Jones plays, Aaron Jones or Deontay Johnson?
Deontay Johnson. Easily.
Yeah. Most weeks I might say Aaron Jones, but coming off the injury where it's like he might be less than 100%, definitely just go with Deontay Johnson. And then Philly or Carolina defense?
I go with Philly because Daniel Jones, I don't think it matters who the offense coordinator is. He's still going to cough the ball up at least once or twice and get sacked. So I would go with Philly.
Yeah, I agree. Philly, you got to feel good anytime you're playing a defense against sack and turnover machine Daniel Jones. Dranoel, Raphael, DJ Moore, or Terry McLaurin?
Terry. I was down on Terry a little bit last week, came back to bite me because he was pretty good. Not going to let that happen again. I'll go with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, especially against Seattle. Got to feel good about Terry McLaurin. I like DJ Moore too this week, but that upside with Terry McLaurin is too much. Real quick, because Jacob Salello, again, apologies. MVS over Corey Davis. Yes, because Corey Davis more than likely not going to play. So decision made for you there. All right, Patrick Garcia, pick 3 in standard scoring. Deontay Johnson. I'm going to already say yes to Deontay Johnson. Devonta Smith, Chase Claypool. I'm going to say no to Myles Gaskin. Damian Harris or AJ Dillon or Waddle. Okay, well, I think we both agree Deontay Johnson's a must, right?
Deontay Johnson, yes.
Gaskin, no.
Gaskin, no, and PPR probably Waddle, no either.
Yeah. So Devonta Smith, Claypool, Damian Harris, or Dillon for his other 2.
Usually I go Harris, but I hate the matchup for Harris, so I'm going to say no to him this week.
Yeah, I think if Aaron Jones sits, Dillon's an easy one for 2.
Yeah, probably Dillon, and then I would think Devonta Smith would be the third.
Yeah, I agree. I guess if Aaron Jones plays, I might still play Dillon over Claypool.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, Dillon would be the little higher floor guy, but Claypool's upside is still pretty good.
Yeah, but he's got to catch a big play. I mean, a standard scoring, he's got to catch a big pass otherwise.
Well, that's what he does.
So some weeks, not always. Not with Big Ben anymore. Drew. This is actually closer than I think people might think it is. Drew Vano, Mark Andrews, or Gronk PPR.
There's one league where I have both those guys, and I'm starting Mark Andrews. I know Gronk is always a big game waiting to happen, but I do think this is going to be a tough matchup for them. Andrews, I honestly have as the top tight end this week going against Cleveland, so it's Andrews for me.
Yeah, I still do think it's Andrews, but I think it's if you can, I would flex Gronk. Honestly, you look at the healthy games with Gronk; he's been awesome this year. And even last week, he didn't score a touchdown. It didn't matter. He racked up a bunch of catches and yards. He's been awesome every game pretty much. And with Antonio Brown still out, he's like the clear number 3 guy there. So maybe flex them both depending on your flex option. What's going on, Ronald? Drew Vano, tell me how I sat Hunter Knox or Hunter Renfro and Dawson Knox on Turkey Day. I mean, maybe too much turkey. I don't know. That's rough. It's rough. Let's see. Alex Watts, PPR. I'm thinking of playing both Galladay and Chenault. Am I crazy?
Desperate, I think, is a better word. You must be pretty desperate. Chris is never Chenault. I'd like to say I'm there. I have been, but now I'm coming back around just because I can't give up on him. I mean, Agnew's out. All right, I'm not going to get to that. Do you have any other options? How about that? Do you have anybody else you could play besides Galladay and Chenault?
The problem with Galladay is he's going to get Darius Slay.
Yeah,
so
bad matchup.
I mean, you got to look. Here's my big worry with Laviska Shenault. Urban Meyer came out this week and said after watching Debo last week, he feels like maybe they need to start giving Shenault some carries out of the backfield, aka Chenault's not touching the ball. So like, I would have felt better if Urban Meyer came out and said, "Oh no, we're good with the way we're doing things." Like, oh, maybe there's a chance for Shenault, but him actually coming out and saying, "Yeah, we need to give Shenault carries out of the backfield," just makes me feel even less confident that he's going to give Shenault any touches. So yeah,
because makes me feel like Urban Meyer even more so has no idea what he's doing. He's watching the other team like, "Yeah, I didn't think about that. Maybe we should."
Hey, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Tobias Bolden, DJ Moore, or Miles Sanders, full PPR. I think we both agree on this one.
That's Moore.
Yeah, DJ Moore for sure. All right, well, let's talk about this because it's an interesting thing now with AJ Brown, especially on IR. Midnight 201. Any Titans wide receiver worth picking up?
I mean, that depends on the depth of your league and your format, but yes, I mean, they got to throw to somebody, especially since they don't have a running game. I mean, with AJ Brown officially on IR, yeah, I think they're going to have no choice. Look, I picked up Marcus Johnson in a bunch of leagues last week. And of course, like in the very first quarter, he tore his hamstring and he's on IR also. So here's what you got. You got Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and you have Des Fitzpatrick, who was somehow a fourth round pick, who then was released and then in training camp and didn't even make the team. And then now out of desperation, they had to bring him back. So, but he did catch a touchdown and they drafted him for a reason. I mean, he's talented. He's just, not a guy who put up college numbers. So Westbrook, I think, gets more of a target share. I think Fitzpatrick's more of the big play guy. I think he's going to be more of the red zone threat. So in standard league, I actually might prefer Fitzpatrick. But in PPR, Westbrook's the smarter play.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think either of them are must adds.
No, but I think it's just going to be a bad offense.
Yeah, if you're in like a deeper league or you're really desperate, then I agree. I think Ikhini's the main pickup because he'll get the bulk of the targets. But if Fitzpatrick's still on your waiver wire and you're desperate, I don't mind grabbing him either, which I did in our tough league just to see what happens. Let's see.
But I would drop Ryan Tannehill. That's the thing.
Yeah, Tannehill is like unstartable now. For sure. He's not even a top 20 QB right now, I wouldn't think. And don't forget they do have their bye next week, so
yeah,
it's not like you have to go get these guys right now.
Yeah, you'd have to have room just to stash, and stashing a receiver on a bad offense as opposed to a running back. You might be better off stashing. I don't know, a guy like Marlon Mack or something.
Maybe not that.
All right, Naheem Hines, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
too deep.
Thinking of playing Galladay and Chenault over Devonta Smith and T. Higgins PPR. Will it be a boom or bust decision? I'm going to go with bust.
Is this somebody different asking about Galladay and Chenault again?
No, it was the same guy. So he's going to start.
I was going to say
he's going to start him over Devonta Smith and T. Higgins.
No.
I couldn't do that personally, but hey,
let's do no and no.
Yeah. Cordero Patterson or OBJ? This is from Kenyon Walton.
It's got to be Patterson. I have Beckham as one of my busts. I don't think it's just going to magically happen in 1 week. And the Packers are a tough defense. So, you're hoping maybe he gets an end zone look, but Cordell Patterson, if he's a full go, he's got to start.
Yep, I agree. All right, Anthony Chow, pick two running backs, two wide receivers, and a flex. All right, well, let's start with the two running backs. Well, CMC and Dalvin Cook are must starts. So there's your those are your two running backs. Okay, let's go to the two wide receivers.
Like, do you need help with that, really?
I'm going to say Pittman and Jefferson are must starts. So there's your two wide receivers. So now flex would be AJ Dillon, Nick Chubb, or Elijah Moore.
I think Chubb it's pretty much, you still have to start him.
Yeah, I think you got to flex Chubb. So there you go. I think we did that one. Maybe not. Drew Vano, pick two. AJ Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, Kareem Hunt.
I'm tempted to still say if Elijah Mitchell does play, you start him. No questions asked. I would probably put Hunt in, because Dillon, even if Aaron Jones doesn't play, which we both kind of think he won't, it's not like Dillon lit it up last week, and it's not a good matchup either, like the Rams. So probably go Hunt.
I mean, Dillon didn't light it up, but he still got you 15 points, caught a bunch of passes. They just didn't run the ball. They just came out throwing, which was surprising. Well, it's the Vikings. Maybe it wasn't surprising. Against the Rams, I'm guessing they're gonna run it more. I still think, to me, AJ Dillon, if Aaron Jones sits, is a must start. Maybe I'm too high on him, but getting 15 fantasy points with no touchdown is pretty nice floor. Then for me, it's like close between Mitchell and Hunt. It's hard for me to sit Hunt, but I do worry maybe. Who did you pick between Mitchell and Hunt? Or did you say those two and not Dillon? So we're like totally off on this one.
I think I said those two.
My worry with Mitchell is, and I like Mitchell, but like we saw in that game against the Rams, we got 27 carries, right, or whatever it was, and he got you 9 or 10 fantasy points, because if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's catching maybe one pass. So, you know what I mean? Whereas like Dillon, we saw in that game, even though Dillon wasn't getting used in the run game, it didn't matter because he caught 6 passes or whatever, and got you a nice 15 fantasy points. And I feel like Hunt does that as well. So for me, it'd be hard to start Mitchell over those guys, even though, look, I love Mitchell. He's my guy all offseason. You know this, but he just doesn't get enough passes for me. I like my running backs to catch passes. Free. It's just free points. It's like free. It's like, oh, look, he caught a pass for 5 yards. There, point and a half. The other guy's got to run for 15 yards to get that. You know what I mean? He just catches a pass, falls down. It's like, there, 3 points.
Yeah, in PPR, definitely that. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got the lowest floor. The question with Hunt, like I said, game script matters for him. Just depends how you think it's going to go. I'm not worried. Oh, it's his first game back. He'll be fine, right? He'll still get used. It wouldn't have activated him if they weren't going to use him. So yeah, Mitchell probably is the riskiest. All right, you convinced me. Let's say Dillon and Hunt.
All right, Sensei. Should we be asking Sensei the questions?
Yeah.
Pick two: Saquon Barkley, AJ Dillon, or DK Metcalf.
You got to start Metcalf. I don't care how bad Russ has looked. You've got to start DK Metcalf, right?
And you got to start Barkley to me. This is like an easy Dillon sit for me. Yeah. I don't think we did this one. Emiliano de la Macora, and my wife would kill me right now because I probably mispronounced that badly. Gibson Hunt or Miles Sanders, full PPR, pick two.
I'm going to sit Sanders out of those because, again, reasons I mentioned earlier, he doesn't have that pass catching floor. Yeah, I'm not buying all the way into Sanders. He is flexible in a certain situation, but not over those two guys.
I agree. Scott Dog, should I start AJ Dillon over Brandon Cooks, Cordero Patterson, or DK Metcalf?
I'm going to keep some faith in Cooks. I know he didn't do much last week. This week, it's the Jets. You got to keep Cooks in your lineup, right?
I don't know. I feel like the weeks we expect Cooks to smash, he does nothing. In the weeks we're like, oh, I don't know, you got to sit Cooks this week. He gets like 13 targets, catches 10 passes, and it's like, oh, why didn't I start Cooks? I don't know. I definitely don't think you could start AJ Dillon over Patterson or Metcalf. That's for sure. I would start those guys.
No, I mean Metcalf is a must start.
Maybe maybe over Cooks if Aaron Jones is out. If you just want to play for that higher floor, Cooks probably has a higher ceiling. But if you just want that higher floor, like if this is your, I don't know. Well, I don't know what this would be if you're deciding over these three guys. But if like Cooks is in your flex and you want a safer flex, I guess you can go Dillon. I don't know.
Yeah, I would keep those other three.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't argue with anybody who wanted to play Cooks over Dillon. That's for sure. Did that one. Did that one. No, we did that one. All right, Durko 04. Starting DK and Deontay. This is half PPR. He's got to flex one of these guys. DJ Moore, Higgins, or Ayuk. Half PPR.
Half PPR. I like Ayuk a little bit better than the other two, especially if it's half PPR. It's close. So, him and Higgins are kind of close, but I don't know. I like Ayuk. I like this matchup for him.
I thought we had some news. Yeah, I think in half PPR, I like Ayuk a little more than DJ Moore. Andrew Brown, Antonio Gibson, or Deontay Johnson, full PPR.
Deontay Johnson? Yeah, it's gotta be Deontay Johnson.
I agree, especially in PPR. Airasite, Jalen Waddle, or Dallas Goedert?
Jalen Waddle or Dallas Goedert? Go Waddle. It's hard for me to ever put a tight end or a receiver just because I think Waddle's going to get more targets. It's a tough matchup. Look, Carolina's defense before last week, because we said this last week, and of course it got blown up last week, but before last week had been really good in the secondary. I think they'll still do that, but Waddle has that floor. I mean, he's going to get targeted a ton because they have no one else to throw to. So yeah, I'd still have to go with Waddle, even though, chances for each to score kind of the same.
I mean, I think Goddard has a better chance to score unless Waddle's going to get another carry, but
he could.
I mean, he could, I guess. But I do prefer Waddle over Goddard because Goddard might only get 50 yards. Well, I guess Waddle might too, but he'll get way more catches. Stephanie Darden, Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Antonio Gibson. Okay, well, let's do two wide receivers first. Between Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, well, you got to play Keenan Allen. So between Brandon Cooks and DJ Moore.
Call me a sucker. I'm gonna go with Cooks.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. I can't bench DJ Moore. Not with Cam. He actually looked halfway decent last week with Cam. Well, there you go. At least Keenan Allen's locked in. All right, and then a flex between Gibson, Javonte Williams, and then either DJ Moore or Brandon Cooks, depending on, I guess, which one of us is answering.
Close. So did you say, is this PPR or half PPR?
It's PPR.
Yeah. Not a big difference between Gibson and Williams. I have them kind of neck and neck. I mean, it's a better matchup on paper for Javonte Williams, but of course he's splitting time with Melvin Gordon. I think Gibson has looked solid enough that you can fire him up mostly with confidence. I would go with.
Would you flex him over DJ Moore though?
Yes.
Man,
I'm not super high on DJ Moore this week. I know his stock has gone up with Cam Newton back, but I just don't think this matchup necessarily is going to be, great for him.
Has Xavier Howard really shut anybody down this year?
No, and I'm not saying he's going to get shut down. I
know Xavier Howard is typically a good corner, but I feel like he hasn't really been a good corner this year.
Well, because he wants to get out of Miami.
Didn't they sign that contract extension?
Yeah, but then he still, well, that was afterwards because he was complaining, and now then we're going to keep you, but then the way the season is gone, look, that doesn't matter. If they want to force their way out, they can force their way out. So don't be surprised if he gets traded after the season. But anyways, I don't know. Maybe I'm too down on DJ Moore this week. I just don't think he's going to have a huge week, So I think you can start somebody like Gibson over him.
I would probably start the 3 wide receivers, although I do feel okay about Gibson. Again, if you want a bit of a better floor, a bit of a safer floor. But if it was my team, I'd probably start the 3 wide receivers. Ryan and Brittany Empire Gross. Okay, interesting name. Brady or Herbert?
Let me see. I have them pretty close. I know the Colts are a good defense, but they are kind of susceptible to passing game. I have Brady higher.
Yeah, for me, this is easily Brady. Herbert's going to bust this week. I know everybody's like, you think I'm crazy, but he's going to bust this week. I'm just telling you. It's the Broncos. They've given up one top 12 finish. It was Jalen Hurts. I don't think Herbert's running for 93 yards again. Call me crazy, but I don't think he's running for 93 yards again.
Yeah, well, that's what always keeps it close. Is Herbert does run and Brady doesn't. So that's why Herbert, you can't always just rule him out based on matchup. But yeah, I'm not worried about Brady. Going against the Colts.
Herbert had 117 rushing yards on the season. Yeah, he's going to run, but he'll get you like maybe 20. He's not going to get you 93 again. I don't think. We did that one. Let's see. All right, I need CP. I need one of these for PPR flex: Jerry Jeudy or Cordero Patterson. Easily Patterson.
Patterson's a full go. You play him. Yeah, we already talked earlier about Jeudy. Love the player in real life. Just that offense isn't doing magic for him in fantasy or any receiver.
Yeah. Okay, this is really going to test me here. Anthony McPhee, flex, Deontay Foreman, or Chenault?
Oh, well, go fight. I mean, you're saying you can't back off it now, can you?
I think in this case I could start Chenault.
Wow.
What is Deontay Foreman? Like, what are we expecting from Deontay Foreman at this point? Like 50, 60 yards, and maybe he falls into the end zone, and you're like, oh, thank goodness he fell into the end zone. Like, that's really it. And this offense now doesn't have any weapons. Like, I'll take my chances that Urban Meyer somehow uses Chenault this week. I can't play Deontay Foreman over.
Yeah,
I can't play Deontay Foreman over almost anybody.
I mean, I say that, and for me, it's Chenault because I bumped him up a bit, keeping him relevant. Yeah, Foreman, it's not a great matchup. That's the thing. Going against the Patriots has a good defense. So, and look what we saw last week. What happens? We thought, okay, Peterson's not in the mix anymore. McNichols was out. Instead of giving it more to Foreman, they gave it to Dontrell Hilliard. So it's not like Foreman is the guy, No,
not even close.
And Chenault's going to get all those carries. He's going to be like the next Debo. That's what I've heard. So,
yeah, but yeah, he's going to get tons of carries. Dante Jones, super chat. Thank you. Standard scoring: Lockett, Brandon Cooks, or Miles Sanders.
All right. Sanders is a distant third out of that group. I think you're going to keep Lockett in there. I know, again, Russ has looked really bad the last 2 weeks. You've got to think he'll snap out of it. It's definitely a better matchup. But Lockett, even besides that, Lockett did put up some numbers. Metcalf is the one who's been down the last couple of weeks, but Lockett had 114 yards or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and in this matchup against a football team whose specialty is giving up big plays, I think you got to start Lockett this week.
Yeah, 115 yards. Sorry, I was close. Yeah, Lockett had a big. He's always a threat with Russ at quarterback to hit on those big plays. I mean, against this defense, you got to start Lockett.
Yeah. All right, Xavier Peart. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. Super chat as well. Thank you. Needs one in his flex for PPR. Devontae Freeman, Jarvis Landry, Javonte Williams, Alex Collins, Tyler Boyd, or Jeff Wilson. Well, I'm going to say you can eliminate Alex Collins and Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, Collins has been banged
And
up,
probably
and
Gurley's
on top
banged
of
up.
that, he's been bad. Um,
Yeah,
Jeff
he's been
Wilson, I already said my piece about Jeff Wilson. Even if Mitchell doesn't even play, so what? Like, just don't start Jeff Wilson. So to me, I mean, Boyd showed some life last week, but yeah, Javonte Williams is who I would go with.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Javonte Williams just love this matchup. I think they're just going to run the ball a ton like they do, and both these guys will get looks against a terrible run defense. He catches passes. He can always score a touchdown or two. So I think I go with Javonte as well. Atlas Young, Gronk or AJ Dillon PPR?
That's a curveball. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, it's got to be AJ Dillon, right? I mean,
I mean, for as good as Gronk's been, you can't sit a starting running back who's looking at 15 plus touches on the Packers for Gronk.
okay. So now, what if Jones does play? It's closer.
It's definitely closer now. It's definitely closer.
I'm still leaning towards Dillon, but I wouldn't be shocked if Gronk outscored him. But I still think, because even if Jones does play, I don't think you're going to see like before where it's going to be Jones for this game, that Jones is going to get all the touches. Dillon gets just a few, mop up duty. I think it's going to be a little bit more even split, because we saw that trending toward that even before Jones was hurt, right? We saw Dillon some games was out touching him. So I think I'd stick with Dillon.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to start a tight end not named Travis Kelce over a running back or wide receiver.
Yeah.
Brett McCoy, standard scoring, Terry McLaurin, Elijah Moore, Javonte Williams, or Devonta Freeman?
One?
Yes.
Gotta go with Terry. I think gotta go with Terry.
Gotta go with Terry, especially in standard scoring. Got that big play upside, touchdown upside. Mary Case, Rashad Bateman, or Ramondre Stevenson in the flex?
Not Ramondre Stevenson. I think he's even questionable going into this game as well. I mean, he'll play, but I think he's also questionable. But this is a bad matchup. I mentioned it. I got Damien Harris, sadly, as a must sit this week. That means you definitely must sit Ramondre Stevenson, because it's a timeshare, and Tennessee's run defense, even, last week, has been really good. So not Stevenson.
I agree. Gotta be Bateman. Love Bateman. Listo Calixto. With AJ Brown now on IR, are you playing Judy or Melvin Gordon full PPR?
I go Melvin Gordon. I like the matchup, of course, the revenge game. He's going to be angry and fired up.
Yeah, and even without the revenge game, it's the Chargers. The Broncos want to run. They're going to run it a lot. We talked about Judy. Like, yeah, you're going to get like 10 to 12 points with Judy. But that's probably all you're going to get from Judy. So Melvin Gordon can get you that without scoring a touchdown. Plus, he definitely has touchdown upside this week against the Chargers. So,
sad to say, Judy now is kind of more, I mean, for fantasy purposes, he's a better player, but he's almost just kind of like Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
Like, he'll get you a few points and that's it. He's not going to score. He's not going to have a big game. He's just okay. Like, he's a fill-in, like an injury bye week fill-in, and that's it.
Yeah, which in a couple of weeks, those guys are going to be useless. So
yeah, that's not what you want in your lineup this time of year.
Yeah, even right now, they're borderline useless, to be honest. Let's see, we did that one. Oh boy, here we go. Wahab Ali, what's up, man? Do I start Russell Wilson or Heineke?
The legend of Heineke. He was great last week, but he's a guy who's the opposite, right? The games you think he'll smash, he doesn't. And then, in the toughest matchups like Tampa Bay and those games, he comes out of nowhere. So I think he used up all his juice last week. I'll put him back on the bench unless it's a super flex league. I'm going to trust that Russ will break out of the funk against the football team.
Yeah, if Russ can't get it done this week, then it's officially panic time. But
yeah, you can panic. If he throws up another third straight dud against this defense, then you can just bench him and panic. But
yeah, I'm definitely starting Russ over him though. And another quarterback question from Frozen Cups and Hot Chips. Interesting. Should I start Herbert or Newton? Herbert or Cam?
I mean, I know you say you got Herbert as a bust, so you're going Cam, right?
Yeah, I'm going Cam for sure. Love
I
that. I love that rushing floor. Like, give me that
yeah,
4 or 5 free points, basically.
I got Cam ranked higher this week too. So there you go. Let's get it. Superman is back.
Hey guys, this is Gabriel Birchner. Hey guys, am I crazy to start Hurts, Devonta Smith, Jake Elliott, and the Eagles defense against the Giants? I mean, I don't know anything about the kicker. Like, all kickers are risky. Ask somebody who played the Titans kicker last week how risky kickers are. Nice big deal.
Yeah. Kicker, I mean, it depends who else your options are at kicker. He's not the best kicking choice, but I mean, whatever. It's a kicker. The defense is a great choice. We, both like them top 10 this week. Jalen Hurts, you'd be crazy not to start.
Exactly.
And then having the stack with Smith and a good matchup, I think that's good.
Yeah.
So I got no problem with it.
Yeah, I got no problem with it. Fan first, super chat. Thank you. Tight end question in PPR: Njoku or Swaim? Wow. Did not expect this question today.
Like a slap in the face. Not Swaim. I know they have to pass to somebody. It's not going to be him. Like, we thought Ferkster was going to be a nice, like, trendy sleeper this year. They don't throw the tight ends. They just don't. Njoku is okay. Hooper I actually kind of like this week because Baltimore, we know, is one of the worst against tight ends, and they started to go to Hooper a little bit more because that receiving core is banged up. So Njoku is a better play. Between the two, it's definitely Njoku, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, this is an obvious question because I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm in any league where either of these guys are getting started. Maybe a dynasty league or something, but even then, I don't know. So I'm guessing maybe it's a 2 tight end league. Maybe it's a 2 tight end league.
Well, I'm going to guess that you have Travis Kelce and he's on bye.
It has Ertz on bye.
Or Ertz on bye. Okay. Oh, there. Oh, did he say that and I missed it?
I just didn't say it. Yeah, I just didn't say it because.
Okay. All right. I mean, so yeah,
it's not really relevant to the question.
Well, I guess it explains the question.
It explains why these are the choices. But yeah,
I mean, if you have those guys, probably not. But if you can get a guy like Freiermuth off waivers, if he happens to be available, or Dan Arnold,
you know what? Check to see if Evan Ingram is still out there. Nobody wants Evan Ingram ever. No Shepard. No Tony, probably. Slayton and Galladay going to be locked down on the outside. I think Barkley and Ingram are going to be like the leading target guys in this game. So I mean, if you're picking between Njoku and Swaim, Ingram's probably not out there because if those are your choices, I mean, he's probably gone. But if somehow he is, I like Ingram as a sneaky starter this week. Even though I didn't have him.
And new OC, whoever it is, I mean, they might start throwing to him more. They might figure out, hey, we have this really talented young tight end. Maybe we should target him.
All right, then Hisham A, another super chat. Thank you. Pick one and half PPR. Bateman, Myers, or MVS?
Bateman.
Yeah, definitely Bateman for me. Lance Foxwell, Cooks, or Pittman? I think we both agree Pittman must start, right?
Yeah, Pittman.
Let's see. Paul Nguyen. Apologies there, Paul. Hunt or AJ Dillon this week?
If Aaron Jones doesn't play, it's Dillon.
Yes.
I think if Aaron Jones does play, then I go Hunt.
I agree. Chamau. Man, I know that was wrong. I'm very sorry. Apologies. Who do you prefer rest of season, Metcalf or Mike Evans?
Oh, interesting. Okay. I'd love to answer that question after this week, after I see how Seattle looks. But obviously that would be too easy. Look, Metcalf, they have actually a pretty good schedule down the stretch. Seattle does. So I wanted to say Metcalf, and I'm keeping the faith here. I think Russell will be okay. I think Metcalf is too good to, kind of flop. Evans is going to be what he is. He's going to have a monster game. Sometimes in a tough matchup, he'll shrink. He still has to play New Orleans another time. So I'm going to go with Metcalf.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Metcalf too. Don't forget, it's more than likely Antonio Brown is back next week or the week after. That's going to, eat into everybody's target shares a little bit. So I'm keeping the faith as well. I think it starts this week. We see Russell Wilson get back, this offense get back. I would go Metcalf as well. All about NFL football. Greetings from Germany. Nice. Greetings. Right. Half PPR. Miles Sanders or Rashad Bateman in the flex?
Funny, well, I'm not German. I'm part French, but it's funny. I just ordered a computer from a German company. So I'm getting all my YouTube streams from now on will be on German hardware. Just a little fun fact for you.
Will you have German subtitles down below now too?
Hey, if it helps people out, then why not? What was it? So it was Bateman and
Miles Sanders, half PPR.
Definitely Bateman.
Yes.
Definitely Bateman. Like Bateman this week, and Sanders. I'm not as against him as I was early in the season, but yeah, I'm not going to start Sanders this week if I don't have to.
Tyler Foley, super chat. Appreciate you, Tyler, here every week, super chatting.
Yep.
Ty Johnson or Melvin Gordon?
That's more interesting than it sounds on the surface, because Ty Johnson's now, sort of the guy. Look, Tevin Coleman probably might be the starter, but Ty Johnson's going to be the one who gets most fantasy points, like clearly. And it's a great matchup against the Texans, but it's I can't say it's better, but it's about the same matchup for Gordon. So yeah, it's going to be Gordon. I like them both, but it's got to be Gordon.
Yeah, I agree, Gordon here. Unless we get some word that after that fumble last week, he's in the doghouse, which I haven't heard all week, so it should be Gordon.
Nah, I wouldn't worry about that.
Never had it so good. Javonte Williams or Barkley, full PPR. What are we doing, man? Come on, Barkley.
It's Barkley. Hey, Javonte's in a great spot, but look, Barkley, you got to roll with Barkley.
I mean, Barkley's in a great spot too. The Eagles are really good at defending the pass and really bad at defending the run. And like I just said, no Tony, no Shepard. There's going to be lots of short throws to Ingram and lots of short throws to Barkley.
No Garrett.
and no Jason Garrett. So all the signs are pointing up for Saquon Barkley.
But here's the thing. And didn't Barkley catch 6 balls last week? I mean, it wasn't a ton of yardage, but he's going to be one of the main pass catchers. He's got that floor.
Yeah, he was second on the team in receptions. Yes.
There you go.
Just Beige, who's in our Discord. Thanks for your help this season, guys. Always appreciate it. Drop us a super chat. Thank you. I don't know if you have a question or not, but thank you. If you have a question, put it in the chat. If you just are saying great job, we appreciate it. All right, Tyler Foley, another super chat. 49ers or Green Bay defense?
49ers. Green Bay has been good, but unless you think the Rams are just, I don't know, going to fold again and they're done. I mean, they can't look as bad as they did before the bye week. So it's just too tough to start them. I'm going to go with the Niners.
Yeah, Niners defense looks like they did 2 years ago. They're looking great. So, all right, Ryan Carroll, thanks, boys, for the show. I just lost A.J. Brown to IR. Yes, we feel your pain. Should I start Jarvis or pick up Galladay, MVS, Boyd, or Chenault?
Oh, so many choices that you don't want. I can't start Landry. Like Baker Mayfield is like on one good toe and just looks terrible. And Landry's banged up too. I know he's going to play, but I can't do Landry. Unless you think Chenault's going to be all of a sudden the next Debo, I think I'd rather have Boyd than him. MVS, like Lazard. Here's one thing: Lazard is questionable, right?
Yeah, he's questionable. So
because we saw MVS go off because Lazard didn't play, and he always has that potential, but it's either all or nothing, right? So you want to roll the dice and hope that MVS does that, but not against the Rams. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I like Boyd too.
I think it's Boyd.
Group. And that Steelers defense banged up. So, all right, let's see. We did that one. Oh, boy. All right, you ready for this one? You buckled in?
think.
Abel Carrillo, Big Ben, or Matt Ryan.
Oh.
Like these are two quarterbacks you do not want to have to start.
Again, I really hope it's because you have like Kyler Murray on bye or Mahomes. But let's just say that you have to choose one of those. You know what? I got Big Ben higher, even though Matt Ryan's going against the Jaguars, because at least he has something to throw to. He's got Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool back, and he can always dump it off to Najee Harris. Like Matt Ryan's looking around and is like this is it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Patterson back would help, but still, that offense is like nauseating.
Yeah, I cannot trust Matt Ryan at this point. I'm in a 2 QB league that I co-manage with a friend of ours, and we got a trade offer. And he's like, it was very good for us, but the guy wanted to send us Matt Ryan. And my friend was like, I want to get somebody better than Matt Ryan. I was like, dude, just take the trade and we'll just drop him. It's fine. 2 QB league. I'm like, we'll just drop him. It's fine. We have Tua, we have Derek Carr, we have Kirk Cousins. We'll just drop him. Don't worry. It's like, don't make that be the reason why we don't make the deal. Just take it and we'll drop him. So yeah, I go Big Ben as well. And then Tyler with the huge $20 super chat, just cuz. Happy holidays. Love the channel. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys. Appreciate that.
Guys, we do have some time left, but again, if you want to get your question answered for sure, super chat is a way to go. But also, again, think about that Patreon. There's information down below. You get more than just the Start Sit show too.
Yes, agree. All right, Greg Z123, Judy Davis. I don't know what Corey Davis, maybe not Mike Davis, right? Either way, if it's Corey Davis, am I forgetting another Davis? Corey Davis probably not playing. Mike Davis unstartable, so we'll just scratch that. So we'll just say Judy, Mitchell, or Freeman in full PPR.
If Mitchell is a go, which it sounds like he will be, it's Mitchell to me.
Yeah, to those guys, I agree. Mitchell. It's Debs, start one. Tyrod, Heineke, not Matt Ryan. Tyrod or Heineke, start one. I know who you're going with here.
And poor Matt Ryan, it's not even him, like his fault, and his numbers might be down, but like his offensive line gives him zero time, and then he has zero options to throw to except for Kyle Pitts. So it's not him, it's just that offense, which is why we're backing off him. Yeah, I'm going Tyrod Taylor, which I mentioned earlier in the week, have him as a boom. Look, this is a bad run defense, but guess who runs? Tyrod Taylor. He scored 2 rushing touchdowns last week. He's a good running quarterback. They don't have much of a running game. I think just on the ground, he's worth. You talk about, right, Chris? You talk about getting the quarterbacks with rushing upside.
Yep.
He's definitely up there.
Yep, I agree. I like Tyrod this week. Jared Worms. Sorry, totally butchered that, I'm sure. MVS or DJ Moore?
MVS or DJ Moore?
Yeah.
It's DJ Moore. Don't get carried away by last week's numbers.
Yeah, definitely DJ Moore. Gallo, Arboleda, Joe Burrow, or Russ?
That's a good question. In a normal world, we would say Russ. I said I'm keeping the faith, but again, I don't necessarily have him locked in as a top 10 quarterback. I think Burrow's in a good spot because Pittsburgh defense still has some injury issues. Their secondary has been vulnerable, as you saw last week. Obviously, got lit up by Herbert. So I do have Burrow higher.
I'm going to say I would still go Russ. I know it's a good matchup for Burrow, but the Bengals started the season run heavy. Then they became pass heavy, and now they're back to run heavy. So I just can't bench a quarterback as good as Russell Wilson in a matchup like this. I just personally can't do it. Can't do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I get that if it's typical Russ Wilson, but look at the last 2 weeks. I mean, I know there were tougher matchups.
Are we gonna ignore 8 years or 10 years of greatness for 2? Like we did this with Mahomes. Everybody was like, you can't start Mahomes, and then he went out there and dropped 36. Like, if Russ was playing, the Rams or the Bills or something like that, then yeah, maybe I go Burrow. But against my football team, like, oh man, That's a green light special. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah,
That's me though. That's me though. I'm not down on Burrow this week, but that's just me. I can't do it.
it's close. And I get what you're saying about Burrow because it's been Mixon who's been scoring, right? Burrow hasn't been
Yeah,
lighting
they
it up
haven't been throwing that much. They haven't been
fantasy
throwing
wise.
nearly as much.
I think the matchup might beg for that because Pittsburgh's tougher against the run than the pass, and they kind of have been all year. So I think that they'll.
I mean, they were the tougher against the run, but look what Detroit did to them and what Austin Eckler just did to them. Like they're just bad against everything right now. They're just bad against everything right now. I mean, Jamar Jefferson like broke off that huge run against, and then who was the other running back? I don't even know his name.
Oh yeah, Godwin.
He broke off a huge run for a touchdown. Like Swift broke off a huge. Like they couldn't even tackle the Lions. So, I mean, yeah, the defense. Look, the defense is bad, but again, this just comes down to me. Like Russ, I'm gonna believe that Russ is still a great quarterback. I'm gonna ignore the last 2 weeks. Say he's still a great quarterback in this matchup. But I get it if you want to play it a little safer with Burrow. I'm not like down on Burrow this week. So
yeah, that's the thing. Burrow is a little higher floor guy. Like earlier this year against Pittsburgh, he didn't have a lot of yards. It was actually less than 200 yards, but he threw 3 touchdowns. You know he'll score. He'll throw at least 1 or 2, usually 2 touchdowns. Russ might not, but Russ could also go off for 300 plus yards. So if you need the higher upside, it's definitely Russ. But Burrow's a little bit safer.
And then Connor Pollock with a super chat, but I don't see a question for you. So if you have a question, ask it below. But if not, thank you for just hitting us with the super chat. We appreciate it. But if you have a question, drop it right there. I'll get to it here. Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, actually, I see your question up higher. Oh, no, there it is. There it is. Okay, I see it now. Higgins, Ayuk, or Devonta Smith half PPR?
And really close. Higgins and Ayuk I have close, but I have Ayuk a little bit higher. Devonta Smith, I do like in this matchup a little bit more than both those guys. So I would go Devonta Smith.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Higgins. Or I mean, Ayuk.
I like Ayuk, but I think I like Devonta Smith a little bit better because he's the main guy there and going against the Giants. I mean, their corners are just, easy to toast.
They are easy to toast, but this could be a game where the Eagles only throw it like 15 times because they're able to run the ball. So I feel like maybe I'm too high on Ayuk this week, and now it's gonna bite me because it's Minnesota.
You'll never be too high on Ayuk.
It's Minnesota. He's actually playing like 90% of the snaps again. He's getting like 7 targets. I was high on Ayuk before the season, so he's kind of like sucked me back in. I mean, Smith probably safer. If you don't want to risk it with Ayuk going out there and just.
I got Ayuk high as a wide receiver too. I have him 24, but I have Smith even higher. That's the thing. I have Devonta Smith as a top 20 wide receiver this week. So maybe that's the thing. I'm high on him. But
there you go. And another Russell Wilson question. We're getting a lot of Russell Wilsons. Russell Wilson or Cam Newton?
I got to go with Cam again. I mean, it's a safer and maybe the higher upside play. I mean, he could rush in 2 touchdowns.
Again, I can't not play Russ this week. That's just me. I can't. Like, this feels like a 300-yard, 3-touchdown Russell Wilson week to me. Like, it just feels like 2 bad weeks. Everybody doubting him. Going against a terrible defense with no pass rush now without Chase Young. He's gonna have time to just sit back there and wait for Tyler Lockett to get free, wait for DK. Like, I know Cam's looked good in the game in 1/10 that he's played so far, whatever it was. He's looked great, actually. He's looked great, but it's still I can't do it. I can't do it.
Here's the
I'm
weird
not low
thing
on Cam. I'm not low on Cam. I like Cam a lot this week, but
well, yeah, I know you are. But here's the funny thing: is Cam? He was the QB5 last week. I mean, he had a great game, but it was against Washington, and that's who Russ Wilson faces this week.
Exactly.
So was it the defense? Was it the player? Miami's defense has been better, but I don't think they're going to shut down Cam Newton. So, again, I like Russ. I have him as a top 10 quarterback, but I have Newton like number 6, I think. So,
all right. Is it crazy? CB, is it crazy to start J-Rob over Chubb? I mean, I don't know if it's crazy, but I wouldn't do it.
No, I mean, here's the thing. We know with Chubb, he, to some extent, could get scripted out or scripted down, right? Not out, but if they're down, if Baltimore at home, with Lamar back, if they're winning and Cleveland is struggling, we could see more Hunt, and Chubb might not have his typical big game. So it's tough because James Robinson going against Atlanta. So not crazy at all. But if it was me, I would keep Chubb.
Yeah, the thing, I know James Robinson's matchup is great, but he's still James Robinson of the Jacksonville Jaguars. At any moment, he could be like, "Why isn't James Robinson getting touches?" You know what I mean? Like, why did James Robinson only get 8 carries against the Falcons? What is there? You know what I mean? Whereas Nick Chubb, even with Kareem Hunt back, is going to get 18 to 20 carries, right? You know this. You just know, and that offensive line is the best offensive line, run blocking offensive line of football. So not crazy, but definitely I would still play Chubb.
But if Chenault starts eating into his carries, then you're going to be sad.
You know what? Why not, Urban Meyer? Just give Chenault 15 carries and James Robinson 5 this week. Let's just do it.
That wouldn't even surprise me at this
point. Please don't do it. I need James Robinson this week. Please don't do it. Tommy Talaga. This one could be interesting. Not the first guy, I don't think, but the last two. But full PPR flex: Ayuk, Pittman, or Patterson. Now, I definitely think Pittman and Patterson are way ahead of Ayuk this week. Do you agree?
Yeah. Pittman ahead of Ayuk. I like Ayuk, but Pittman to me must start.
Yeah, but do you flex Patterson over Pittman in PPR?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Too good of a matchup for Pittman. Jonathan Dang, is Kelsey for Mark Andrews and Lockett a good trade?
If you need a receiver and you're going to start Lockett as your second or third guy, yeah, I think that's fair. I know you'd probably rather have the stud, right, with Kelsey.
Yeah, because Andrews has been fine, but like every other tight end not named Travis Kelsey, he hasn't been great. Like, he had that 140-point game, but you look, what is he? He gets you just like every other tight end, he gets you 10 to 15. Every other good tight end, I should say, like Darren Waller, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson. I guess TJ Hawkinson gets you 6 to 15. Whoever, Kyle Pitts. And Lockett, I like Lockett, but Lockett has those weeks where he gets you 3, 4, right? I think I would just rather have Kelsey. I'd rather just have Kelsey and just have that set it, forget it. You're getting 15 plus pretty much every week, chances for 20 plus every week. I think I would just stick with Kelsey if it was me.
And the thing with Andrews, he's just not scoring a lot of touchdowns. He had that monster game where he scored 2 in one game plus the yardage. But other than that, he's only scored 2 touchdowns in the other 9 games combined.
How many fantasy points does Mark Andrews have this year? Are you looking at it right now?
I am looking at it. He has, I don't know if it says total fantasy points, but he right now is the tight end.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Honestly.
Well, it means something. He's been a top 10 tight end 5 times.
That's like saying a running back's been a top 30 running back 5 times. Top 10 tight end means you got 8 points.
Well, tight end 1.
You got 8 points though. Okay, so he has 153 points this year.
He's a tight end 2 on the year.
Yeah, he got 41. He got 41 in one game. So he's had 12 points in his other 9 games. So he's averaging 12-ish a game. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not terrible, but I just feel like Kelsey is
Okay, here's 2 ways to look at it. Mark Andrews, only tight end who has scored more fantasy points than Travis Kelsey, or than Mark Andrews is Travis Kelsey. Mark Andrews is right after him. Okay. And Waller's hurt now, and Pitts and Hawkinson are in terrible teams. So that if you don't have Kelsey, Andrews is the next best tight end for fantasy, right?
Sure.
But that said, there's a gap between Kelsey and Andrews. I don't think it's a huge gap. I don't. You think it's a huge thing, big. But I don't think it's a huge weekly gap because it's not like Kelsey is doing exactly what he did last year either. So the question is it worth it to get Lockett that change, right? Lockett is a guy who's going to give you a couple of huge games. He's going to give you a couple of nothing games. So I think you have to look down the stretch. And I already mentioned this, that Seattle has a pretty favorable schedule, in terms of against past defenses. And we're keeping some faith in Russ, right? So if we think Russ is going to bounce back, Lockett should be startable pretty much every week down the stretch. So if you need a receiver to start every week and you're going to start Lockett every week, I think you can do the deal. If Lockett's just like your third or fourth receiver or just whatever, then there's no point doing it.
I still go Kelsey. Studs. Give me the studs. Kelsey, 17 or more fantasy points in every game, but I think 2 or 3 this year. And I think Andrew's only done that in like 3 or 4 games total. So it's like, yeah, he's a tight end too, but that's because tight ends suck. And you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're the tight end too, but that's because somebody has to be the tight end too. like for real, like somebody has to be a tight end too.
I think it's a little disrespectful, but
it's not
I'm
like
not an Andrew Stan, so I get that.
It's not like saying like Deebo Samuel is the wide receiver too, or whatever he is, where it's like, yeah, no kidding, he's carrying my fantasy team. Like Mark Andrews isn't carrying anybody's fantasy team. Anyways, we spent a lot of time on that trade. All right, Mark's a good lad. Flex, Westbrook Ikini or Tyler Boyd?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Westbrook is going to get some targets, but it's the Patriots. It's a tough defense, so I'm not going to put him over Boyd. So I go Boyd.
Yeah, I go Boyd too. In this matchup here. Also, it's already the hour and a half, but let's do some rapid fire here.
All right.
I know we spent a lot of time on that trade question and the tight end rants.
It's all Mark Andrews' fault.
Too much time ranting about tight ends. All right, let's see. Okay, we haven't talked about this guy yet, actually, which is surprising. Kevin Burke, wide receiver 2, Pittman, Marquise Brown, or Claypool?
Ooh, Marquise Brown coming off injury, but I think he's still got a questionable tag, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I think he's going to play.
But he should play. Hard to not play Marquise Brown against the Browns, right? I think you got to put Marquise Brown in, but Pittman. You said Pittman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I go with Pittman.
I agree. You got to start Pittman. Okay, here we go. The battle of the waiver wire desperation wide receivers. Westbrook Ikini, MVS, or Kendrick Bourne?
I like Kendrick Bourne. Titans secondary is not very good.
No, it's not. DJ Moore, Javonte Williams.
PPR or not?
I'll assume PPR.
If it's not PPR, it's Javonte Williams. If it is, I'd still go. No, I wouldn't. I'll go DJ Moore.
Yeah, I gotta go DJ Moore. PPR. We got a super chat. Why is it showing up here? I don't want to lose.
Quick disclaimer, guys. We have a few minutes. We're going to try to get to as many as possible. Not physically possible for us to do that. So again, jump the line, get your super chat in now, or again, consider that Patreon membership. If you look down below in the description, you'll see information about it.
All right, it's from Roberto. What's up, Roberto? Super chat, MVS, Landry, or Galladay in PPR? Oof.
MVS, who or Galladay?
Landry.
Oh man. But I'm not liking MVS this week. I guess Galladay.
Oh,
I know.
I think I'd probably just roll with MVS and pray for one deep shot. Because Galladay, okay, what are you getting with Galladay? Maybe he gets like 4 or 5 catches against a tough secondary. Like he's not going to catch a 50-yard touchdown, more than likely. Landry is just no, thank you. Yeah, MVS might get 1 catch for 5 yards, but he might, like last week he had 10 targets. He only caught 4, but he had 100+ yards because that's what he does. So I think I would just risk it with MVS. I mean, I don't love the matchup against the Rams, obviously, but it's not like Galladay's in a good spot, going to get destroyed by Darius Slay, and he's got Daniel Jones throwing to him instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I feel like I wish I knew that Lazard wasn't playing, and then I could say MVS.
Now, you're right. That does help, but that's just me. I would go MVS and just
I can still go MVS.
All these guys are hope and praise, right? None of these guys like you feel great about. So
yeah, I don't think that decision is going to make or break your week, anyways.
Probably not. And then this one's a little easier, I think, for both of us. PPR, Bateman, or Miles Sanders? I assume Miles Sanders, maybe Emmanuel Sanders. Well, no, Emmanuel Sanders already played, so Miles Sanders.
Yeah, that's Bateman.
Definitely Bateman. And then Gesicki, Hunt, or Mike Williams in PPR.
I'm going Hunt.
Yeah, if Hunt's already been active, so yeah, I'm going Hunt. And then Goddard or Fryer Goat.
Goddard.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of. I want to say Fryer Goat, but no.
You want to say the Fryer Goat, but
it's definitely Goddard. He's basically like the number 2 target there, whereas
the heart says Fryer Goat, but the head knows it should be Goddard.
Exactly, the head knows it should be Goddard. Leonard Fournette or AJ Dillon at the flex.
AJ Dillon.
I agree. Cordell Patterson, Elijah Mitchell, Javonte Williams. Pick one.
Oh, only one. Dude, PPR?
It doesn't say, so we'll assume PPR.
I go with Patterson.
Yeah, I agree. Another trade one, Kelsey for James Robinson. Only if you have a decent tight end behind Kelsey. And you need Kelsey for sure badly. Yeah. Otherwise, I definitely prefer Kelsey. Oh, here's one for you: Tyrod Taylor or Russell Wilson. Let's see how high on Tyrod you really are.
Not that high. I go Cam over Russ Wilson, but I won't go Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, you got to play Russell Wilson there. All right, full PPR pick 2. I mean, I think this. Well, maybe not. I think it is though. Deontay Johnson is a yes, a definite yes. So then pick one between Lockett, Claypool, Brandon Cooks, Elijah Mitchell, or Ty Johnson.
Well, talking it up all day, I think Lockett, great spot to smash. I know there's a couple of guys there I like too, but I think Lockett's the one.
I agree. Okay, Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams this week? Who do we like better?
I give the edge to Gordon and forget the revenge game thing. He's the one who gets, looks in the goal line. I'm not worried about the fumbling thing. I mean, if it happens again, yeah, then we're in trouble. But I don't think he's going to be dogged this game because of that.
All right, I know we're trying to do rapid fire, but this is an interesting question. Is James Conner more of a running back 2 or a flex once Edmonds comes back?
I don't know that Edmonds is going to make that big a difference because really his value is as a pass catcher, and Connor is not really taking on that role as a pass catcher, anyways. So I don't think it really affects him. Connor's value is in the goal line. I mean, he's still going to be the guy who gets the ball near the goal line. So I don't think that really makes a difference. I think he's an RB2.
I was going to say flex because isn't that how we considered him as a flex until Edmonds got hurt? He was a decent flex.
Yeah,
Edmonds does get some carries.
Yeah, I get some, but I don't think it was just Edmonds being hurt that made Connor valuable. It's because the offense is really good, and Connor's shown that can carry the load, and he's been getting all these touchdowns. I mean, he's scoring a touchdown basically every week. So I have him as a low end RB2, and that says a lot more, especially about the state of running back than anything.
Yeah, that's true. There's barely 24 running. I don't even think there is 24 running backs that you can feel great about starting right now.
Exactly.
Gibson or Miles Sanders?
Gibson.
Definitely Gibson. Herbert. Okay, let's see how low I am on Herbert. Herbert or Jimmy G?
It's still Herbert. I'm never going to put Jimmy G over any decent quarterback.
It's still Herbert. Although Jimmy G has been scoring a lot of fantasy points, and I do think this is going to be a high-scoring game. But I still got to play Herbert.
I saw with Garoppolo. Here's the thing. There's a couple of games where he's gone over 300 yards, a couple of games where he's under like 175. He's very boomer bust, and good matchups for him, which this could be. I wouldn't be shocked if he went over 300 yards and had a big game, but I'm not starting him over Herbert.
And then Dirk Nowitzki. Could it be? Probably not.
I know he played fantasy football.
Everybody plays fantasy football. Even football players play fantasy football. Like Austin Eckler has a podcast about fantasy football, and he even said he checked the score of his team, and he's like, "Oh, I got myself 41 points." I'm like, "How cool is that?" By the way, how cool is that? That Austin Eckler. I don't know if you guys heard this. I know we're running late, but Austin Eckler plays fantasy, does a fantasy football podcast every week with Liz Loza on Yahoo Football or Fantasy, and has himself on his fantasy team, and check the score after the game to see how many points he got himself. Like, how can you not want to root for Austin Eckler? The guy loves fantasy just as much as we do. That's pretty awesome. Because it always annoys me when players are like, "Oh, I don't care about your fantasy team." It's like, well, you should, because that's the only reason why most of us even watch your stupid football games. It's because of fantasy. So you should. But anyways, that's a rant for another day. We got a super chat from Terry R. Full PPR. Pick 3: Hollywood Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Waddle, Tevin Coleman, or David Johnson. I think
not David Johnson.
I mean, Hollywood and Waddle in PPR for me for sure.
Yeah, Hollywood is a must start, and PPR Waddle is still, if not super exciting, it's still solid.
Am I crazy for? I mean, Judy's the safest out of these, but am I crazy for saying David Johnson?
David Johnson
against the Jets, catching passes. He's caught passes. He's the pass catcher. It's the Jets.
No, he'll get you like 2 yards and not even a cloud of dust.
I mean, Rex Burkhead only averaged 1 point or 2 yards per carry last week, and people are all excited about him because he got 18 carries. David Johnson had just as many touches, and 3 of them were catches. I mean, I don't want to start David Johnson, but I don't really want to. My thing with Jerry, I mean, I'd probably start Jerry Jeudy, but you're only getting like 10 to 12 points. That's all you're getting from Jerry Jeudy. That's it. That's all you're going to get.
Yeah, but with David Johnson, you could get 2.
It's the Jets. Myles Gaskin just almost dropped 20 on the Jets. It's the Jets.
Yeah, it was David Johnson.
Let's see. We're
time for a couple more. Let's say 2 more minutes.
All right, let's go. Okay, I got to address this one. Chris, you get a haircut before every video. Your hair always looks perfect. Actually, I get a haircut once a month, and no, I slapped it together really quick before we got on the show, actually. So, but thank you, I guess. Oh, boy. Van Jefferson or Odell Beckham?
Van Jefferson, confidently.
Wow. Okay, there you go. Kenny Golladay or Kendrick Bourne?
Kendrick Bourne, even more confidently.
Wow, here we go. Like, nice. This is making me let's see. Ingram. Okay, so I guess after I talked about Ingram. Do you like Evan Ingram or Tyler Conklin better? PPR.
It's not a good matchup for Conklin. 49ers pretty tough against tight ends.
What has he even really been doing? He had that 2 touchdown game, but he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yards or catches.
You know what? What the heck? Take a shot on Ingram and see if something comes of it.
Yeah, I would go with Ingram, especially with Tony and Shepard out. He's probably going to play a lot of slot. So, Gesicki or Kyle Pitts?
I'm going to go with Pitts based on the matchup. I know Atlanta just railed on how terrible they are, but Pitts is still too talented, and it's because of the matchup.
He's got great matchup. In Mahomes' absence, Tyrod Taylor or Heineke?
Taylor.
I agree. Let's look. All right, let's see. Again, let's try to find one people haven't really talked about. Do one more here. I don't really know linebackers. Darrell Henderson or Mike Williams?
PPR?
I assume so.
Probably Mike Williams, because I don't love Henderson's outlook this week.
Yeah, and at least Mike Williams has that upside. All right, last one. Running backs, nobody wants to start, but you probably have to start one of them. David Johnson, Rex Burkhead, or Ramondre Stevenson. Full.
Oh, what a way to go out.
Or half PPR. Sorry, half PPR.
Rex Burkhead with zero confidence.
Why?
He's the main running back going against the Jets. David Johnson.
He got 18 carries. David Johnson got 13. Rex Burkhead averaged 2 yards a carry. It's not like Rex Burkhead is like.
The only thing David Johnson's carrying is Rex Burkhead water bottle these days.
Oh, man. I wish we were playing each other in the private league, because I'm starting David Johnson in the private league as my last flex with confidence.
That's going to cost you the game.
Not really, because Stinger started Tony Jones as his last flex. So I feel confident David Johnson can outscore Tony Jones against the Jets. I feel very
Well, I
confident in
mean,
that.
if the bar is that low, then sure. But
All right, guys.
all
There you
right.
go.
Well, there you go. The post Thanksgiving edition of Start Sit. Now, of course, you can always get your questions and more answered two ways. You can do that after this is over. So you can become a patron by joining the Patreon, and we have another show tomorrow morning, or you can join the Discord absolutely free. And we have people in there, not just Chris and myself, but some of our loyal community who is always in there willing to help out and have discussion and just talk football. We have all sorts of channels in there: Start Sit Advice, also Waiver Wire, Trades, Dynasty, anything, Game Day, and of course all Sunday long we're there talking about the game. So all that information is in the description below. We appreciate you guys more than you. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Yep. Good luck in what's left of week 12, guys. See you next week.